least it's not me in that car, you know?
I can't believe it.
Got it.
Oh my God.
It's kind of a time to not really know what to do, so.
At random too, why? I don't get it.
Don't have any answer. How old is Brian?
He's 19.
He's 19.
What's going on, man?
Cooperate. I am going to cooperate.
Okay, so parents have some concerns of some stuff they may have found in your room?
Yeah, I believe so.
And what would it be?
A human head and hands.
Like, for real human head and hands?
Yes.
From?
That fellow who went missing recently.
Which fellow was that?
Warren Brown.
Warren Brown? When did he go missing?
The night of the 27th.
The night of the 27th? Okay, and how did you end up with him?
I murdered him.
With what?
A knife.
Why would you have done that?
I've always wondered what murder felt like.
2021, Grand Junction, Colorado. It's the first day of March, and Warren Barnes, a 69-year-old man known to hang outside of Monique's Bridal and Formal Wear on Main Street in downtown Grand Junction, hasn't been seen since Saturday, February 27th.
And if you've ever been downtown, you guys would see him. He walks Main Street. He's always.
Brett probably knows him if he's
He's always on Main Street, just with his backpack, just walking and coming down to the shop to sit in his chair, pretty much.
How do you know Warren?
I own Monique's Bridal downtown, and I give him a chair to sit and read his books. And
homeless gentleman?
he's not homeless. He stays in a place. He pays for a room every day. He comes back in the shop because we keep his chair inside the shop to deter other people from sitting in it behind my shop.
The woman speaking with police is Monique Lenati. Her business has been mainstay in downtown Grand Junction since 1995. Monique and her daughter spent time getting to know Warren over the 4 years he's been a fixture behind her shop. He loves reading, feeding birds, and eating Subway sandwiches. To outsiders, he may have appeared unhoused or out of work, simply because he wore the same clothes every day. But Warren is different.
He works for a company that does just like temp agency, and they were the ones that actually contacted me because he's never missed work, and they know that he sits behind my shops.
So every morning it's around 6?
Yeah.
Without fail?
Without fail.
7 days a week?
Yes. He is there every morning.
All by himself?
Yeah.
Those who know him quickly take a shine to his kind and gentle soul.
And he's the nicest guy ever. Rough looking, but he is the nicest guy.
And
he buys Pall Mall Red 100s every day and a donut.
Warren Barnes is quiet and never bothers anyone. He passes the time reading books, so the locals dubbed him the Reading Man.
But I know he goes to the library a lot as well, because he, like I said, he reads books.
Loves to read.
Didn't show up to work on Monday morning, March 1st. His employers at the temp agency were concerned.
what raised concern with you today to report him missing?
Because the place people already called to see if I had seen him, because he didn't show up for work, and he's never once not shown up for work in the 4 years he's been working for them. So I said no, and that I hadn't seen him since Saturday. I don't know, I just have a really bad feeling, because it's unlike him. And that's the weird thing, is I said, I'll see you tomorrow. He said, I'll be here, I'll see you tomorrow. And then I didn't even think about it when he wasn't there, really.
Does he ever have anybody sit and read with him or next to him? Mm-mm. Does he mention talking to anybody?
No, he doesn't associate with a lot of the transients, because he's not like them. He's very intelligent. I don't know why he's homeless. I never really got into why he chose,
I'm sure you asked him. Did he ever talk about his family or where he came from?
So he has, I believe, at least one child, but they don't talk. Okay. And he said that they talk maybe once every 3 or 4 years on a holiday, but that he hasn't spoken to them.
So he probably didn't go for a visit?
No. He wouldn't have, and if he was, he would have told the people Ready Place he wasn't going to be there for work. He was very all about having that so he could afford his place to stay.
With no family that she knows of to call upon, Monique decides to start searching for him on her own. She posts a picture of Warren on her Facebook page asking people to be on the lookout. Meanwhile, 5 miles across town, something odd had been unfolding over the weekend. In the Colorado River, just off the Blue Heron boat launch, a car is partially submerged in the water. The driver, 19-year-old Brian Cohee, had accidentally driven his 2007 Ford 500 into the river and was in over his head. Literally. So he called his parents, Brian Sr. and Terry Cohee, to come to his aid, and they called the police for further assistance. The tenor of the scene just off the Redlands Parkway is lighthearted. Everyone's laughing and joking around, even though it's in the middle of the night and it's dark and freezing.
Yeah, we made him wait till he was almost 18 before he got his driver's license because we didn't want him having any accidents like they do when they're 16 and 17 and
Gotcha.
things.
This your son right here?
Yep.
Yeah. Hey, partner, you want to come out and talk to me real quick?
Sure, I mean,
Appreciate it, man.
I'm really cold. Is it okay if it's in here? Because
That's fine.
Because he is.
Okay, that's fine. I did not know that. No, please stay in the car. All right.
You need to stay here? Or
I'm sorry?
Is he free to go? I'm sure he'd like to go home and get warm.
I'm sure you'd like to get some pants on.
Yeah, right?
Yeah, it's not a crash. It's
Okay. It's just a stupid accident.
so.
All right, I'm going to take him home then, and then we'll come back here and figure out what's what with the picture driver.
Son has no pants on.
After taking Brian home to put some pants on and warm up, the Cohees returned to the scene at the boat ramp around 3 a.m. And this is when things take a turn. The crew recovering Brian Jr.'s sedan from the Colorado River has just spotted something troubling.
Hey, quick question for you.
Sure.
This back bumper, I don't know, you can probably see it from here. It's a lot of red on the back of that. Yeah, dripping down it all a little bit. Right underneath the license plate. A little area right there. Okay.
Okay.
A lot of red. It looks like blood.
Blood?
Yeah. I don't know if did your son hurt himself on his way out at all?
He might have, he just didn't know it. I don't know.
That's why I'm asking. It's a good question. He's at home. Is he make sure he's not got a cut or
He's going to bed.
something out on him somewhere that he's not aware of? Maybe because his adrenaline was a little high. Maybe just have him do like a self-check. Make sure he's okay.
Hello?
Brian, are you okay? They see blood on the back bumper of the vehicle.
Really?
Yeah, did you get hurt?
No.
Are you sure you don't have any injuries?
No, I'm fine. There's blood on it?
We're not sure.
We're not sure. It's a red, something red underneath the license plate.
Similar blood stain.
Oh, no.
All right. But you're not injured. You don't have any cuts.
No, I don't know what would cause blood or whatever it is on the bumper.
But you're not injured.
No, I'm not injured.
Okay. All right. I'll call you back.
The car is released back into the custody of the Cohees the next morning. Brian Sr. decides to clean his son's car. After all, it had been in the river for hours and badly needed it.
So I'm like, okay, I'll get this car started for Brian. He's got to work. So right away, I popped the hood, unhooked the battery, because it was dead, tried to charge the battery. I started going through the car, vacuuming out all the water. Did as much as I could Saturday. Went back out there this morning, just to continue. And I opened the glove box, and there was a knife in the glove box, underwater.
Okay.
The glove box is full of water. Very large knife.
Okay.
And then, as I go under the passenger door, I open the passenger door, and there's a wallet in between this door and the gun or whatever.
Okay.
And I open up, that's not Brian's wallet. It's frozen solid. That's not Brian's wallet.
The blood on the bumper, the knife, and the stranger's wallet. Brian Sr. had some questions for his son. Sr.'s next phone call is to Brian Jr.
Call Brian. Brian, what's going on? Why is there a walk in the car? Oh, I found it down in the book when I was down there walking around. Okay. And he was so sincere. I took it all. I want to believe him. He's my son. Sure. You found him. Brian, how come, and all this going on in the last 2 days, well, how come you didn't tell us about the wallet? Dad, I was just so excited with all the going on. My car getting towed. Look, it's wet now. It won't start. I didn't think about it. I didn't think it was important, Dad. I'm like, Brian, who is this one whatever guy? Dad, I swear to you, from bottom, I only know one. He's my school friend. It's not him. I believe him.
Unbeknownst to Brian Sr., his wife Terry, who operates a child care facility out of the home, is almost simultaneously making a chilling discovery in her son's room.
Started working on my house, doing some drywall repairs, just doing other things. Left the car alone, didn't let it dry out. My wife called, get over here right now. Drop everything, leave right now.
111 is John. What's the address emergency?
Hi, there is an emergency. I found something in my son's closet wrapped in a plastic bag.
Okay, what was it?
I think it's a human head.
It's a what?
I think it's a human head.
Why do you think it's that?
Because it looks like it's on ear.
Is it bloody or does it like anything like that?
I just need to come. So I had to take a picture and send it to you.
What's the address? Is your son there now?
He just pulled up. We wanted to make sure he was here before we called.
How old is he?
19. He's had a little bit of a fascination with the morbid, but he was channeling it, I thought, into becoming a crime scene investigator, but not so much.
Do you think he's going to be cooperative with us?
I don't know. I don't think he'll be violent. Just came back from his friend's house.
Does he have any weapons in his room, or do you guys have any in the house?
I don't know. I think that he has a shotgun, but we can certainly remember it immediately before he gets in his room. He's out by the car now, so.
Is the bag still in the closet?
No, it's in my kitchen sink. And there's a secondary bag that I have not opened.
Officers from the Mesa County Sheriff's Office respond to the Cohee residence on South Broadway. At this point, all the children in Terry Cohee's daycare have been picked up by their parents. Outside the home, at the end of their gravel driveway, Brian Sr., Terry, Brian Jr., and Brian's brother Andy await police.
Okay, so parents have some concerns of some stuff they may have found in your room?
Yeah, I believe so.
And what would it be?
A human head and hands.
Like, for real human head and hands?
Yes.
From?
That fellow who went missing recently.
Which fellow was that?
Warren Brown.
Warren Brown? When did he go missing?
The night of the 27th.
The night of the 27th? Okay, and how did you end up with him?
I murdered him.
With what?
A knife.
Why would you have done that?
I've always wondered what murder felt like.
Okay, where did you do that at?
Underneath the bridge.
Which bridge?
The one past...
Okay.
Near the weird intersection.
Okay. Do you have anything on you that's going to cut, poke, hurt, stick me anything without reaching for nothing? Don't reach for nothing.
My phone and my wallet, that's
okay.
it.
Well, I'm going to have you face that way. Put your hands on top of your head for me real quick. I just want to make sure you interlace your fingers for me real quick, all right?
Phone?
Okay. How do you know this guy?
They told me that was what was in the wallet.
What do you mean that was?
No, Brian, how did you come across this guy?
How'd you come across the gentleman?
I was driving,
and
I saw a strange shape near the railway. So I parked my car and investigated it, and I found it to be a man sleeping.
Okay. Where's the knife at?
It is in my sunken car. Well, it's in my car.
I had that
previously sunk.
This is going to be an investigation, and I'll take it from there.
Okay. So, did that happen when you crashed your car? Or is that totally different?
That's related, but a different event.
Okay. How's it related?
Well, when I killed him, I tried disposing of his body by putting it in the river, but I parked too low in the river.
Where's the rest of his body at?
Huh?
Where's the rest of the body at?
What parts?
The body, Brian. Where's his body?
Down the river.
Okay. I'm gonna have you walk over here. You're gonna sit in the back of my partner's patrol car for a minute, okay? Not yet. Okay. Just sit back there and hang out for me, okay?
Meanwhile, the male officer needs to go inside the house and see for himself if there actually is a human head in the sink, like Terry Cohee claimed in her 911 call.
Let me do it. You go inside.
Well, let's stay out here with me for a minute.
Sit down. Come on, sit down, dude.
Can I go in there and verify here first?
Oh, yeah, please. We haven't seen it. Yeah, we haven't
Okay.
looked at it.
It's under the towel in the sink.
Okay.
Yeah, Andy, Stay with your mother. Give her
just make sure that guy goes in the car first.
I can stay here. You can go in the sink, right?
Well,
Sink
okay.
right there. No, house is empty.
Okay.
had a bad feeling about what happened this weekend.
Okay.
She said there's a bag in this closet, and she opened it up, and she called me and said, get over here right now. I covered it with a towel.
Okay.
I didn't want him to see it because we didn't want him to run. I don't want to look at it.
Yeah. 2242, you clear for a call?
After the officer confirms the head is indeed real, Brian Sr. then recounts the story of the last 24 hours again to law enforcement on scene.
He left Friday night, late in the morning. Our phone rings at my house. Dad, this is Brian. My son Brian. Same name, same birthday, January 10th. My firstborn. My car's stuck in the river. Wait, what? So we go there and he gives us a song and dance how it's a full moon, he wanted to pull down to the water. And next thing you know, since it's a one-wheel drive, we tried to put it in reverse and the car started sliding and next thing you know, he ended up in the river. So we get there to pick him up, we call the police at 2 o'clock in the morning. My son put his car in the river. So they called a tow truck company, we called 4 tow truck companies, couldn't get the car out of the river.
Where's the car?
Blood all over the
Where's the car?
Where is the car?
So we towed it to Scotty's to see if they could fix it. So I called Scotty's and said, don't touch it. Okay. I already called him and said, don't touch it.
Nothing was taken out of the vehicle.
Yes,
that you know.
I did. Yes.
What did you take out of the vehicle?
I cleaned it up, bottles, everything, incriminating
Do you know
stuff.
where that stuff is?
Yes, it's all at the house.
It's all at the house.
Yes.
Okay,
yes.
in a bag.
No, I didn't know this had happened first, so I'm thinking I'm gonna get Brian's car cleaned out. We're gonna get.
Oh my God, I can't believe it.
It's not me in that car, you know.
I can't believe it.
Got it.
Oh my God.
It's kind of a time to not really know what to do. So.
What happened? At random too. Why? I don't get it.
I don't have any answer. How old is Brian?
He's 19.
He's 19.
110-02.
Mom, what's your name?
My name's Terry.
Terry? Okay. Are you okay? Do you need any medical?
Well, we're waiting on a call from my doctor.
Okay. All right. So hang tight right here. I got to chat with my partners again, okay?
It's now time to take the 19-year-old suspect to the station for questioning.
All right, Brian.
His parents follow the patrol car to the sheriff's office where they will also be interviewed. The patrol car is sent to inspect the area of the underpass that Brian stated was the crime scene.
Right, here's a leg. Well, it could be the upper arm or a leg.
Well, there's 3. There, and there.
In the interview room, Terry Cohee is understandably upset and anxious. Her eldest son has just admitted to murdering a stranger for the thrill of it. The detective wants to know the question on everyone's mind at this point. What would drive this seemingly non-violent teenager to murder?
Tell me about Brian. Does he have any kind of mental issues or disabilities? That's why they were told he has ADHD.
The detective wants to know more about the medications Brian is on, and if he's actually taking them.
And he said he's not taking his medication, or is he on medications now?
He's on ADHD medicine.
Okay.
That he takes before work.
Okay.
On his part-time job.
Okay.
And he takes sertraline, which is an anti-anxiety, antidepressant.
Okay.
So he's been diagnosed that as well.
And to the best of your knowledge, is he actually taking them? Like, do you watch him take them?
I don't watch him take them, but I have the alarm set, and every night at 10 p.m. I say, Brian, take your medicine. And he says, I know, I am.
Okay.
And as I've looked at his pill container, I mean, it's going, seems to be going down.
Okay.
So I assumed he was taking it.
Okay. What about alcohol or any other recreation drugs?
No.
Nothing like that. When you talked about the school stuff and having lots of issues, what were the issues that they were having that made other kiddos not feel safe?
He would make jokes that were not appropriate. He got suspended a few times, like for behavior that wasn't acceptable. Like this one girl that he knows very well, he knows that she has a lot of issues and that loud noises frighten her. And so, one of his school suspensions was when he, came up to her in the hallway and clapped really loud next to her prohibited use of a weapon.
Line of questioning pivots to Brian's behaviors and interests.
How about stuff at home with you and your husband and your other son? Like any kind of violent behavior or weird behavior? Like the stuff with
Brian's textbook weird. Okay. You know, I mean, he's always, you know, he's either ADHD and we're struggling with social thinking and social behaviors and learning and, you know, it's always been a challenge with Brian.
But not violent behavior towards you and your husband. What about other kids in the neighborhood or on the bus?
He didn't really, you know, he had a couple of friends that he's had since elementary, but, you know, he had a morbid sense of humor and would make jokes and I'd say, Brian, that is not funny. He'd go, yeah, it is, Mom. You just don't get my sense of humor, you know. But some of his behaviors that we attributed to autism, like the flat face, maybe isn't attributable to autism. Obviously, it's something else.
Brian Sr. is dumbfounded by the situation he's found himself in.
Our kids are both doing good. They're okay at school. They don't drink or smoke. So I didn't really have no warnings that this was going to happen.
But he quickly realizes that this is not an accurate picture of his son.
He's obviously sick. He's obviously very sick. We've noticed weird things about him. Some days he gets cold. Just he looks at me and he has this cold look on his face. And I can just tell that, I don't know if it's from his friends that he's hanging out with or what, but...
Tell me about some of the, I know he's had some issues in school, but tell me about Brian from his childhood.
Very
growing up.
He was good growing up, but I think they diagnosed him early in elementary school with ADHD because he would, he had trouble meeting friends, trouble talking, doing funny things. So he was always kind of on his own. He was a loner. He had friends, a certain amount of friends, but he wasn't like, hey, he wasn't accepted very well. In school, he wasn't accepted, I know that, but he's got friends that he hangs around with, respectable friends. And we just thought, but it just seems like not friends that would ever, not those kind of friends.
Sure.
Clean, good friends.
Okay.
The worst they have is they play video games. They drink too much Pepsi. That's my only complaint when all his friends come over. They stay up too late. None of them are, I don't know what happened. I don't know why, what made him go, and I'll never know that question. I don't know how many times you want to ask me. I don't know why, who, when, where, I don't know. I'm just as dark about this as you.
By the end of his time in the interview room, Brian Sr. laments the loss of his family's reputation in the community.
This is too much for me. I have the same name as my son, and now this has happened. I need to move to Mogadishu or something. Because this is going to kill my family. How do I know this guy's family's not going to come after us?
Well, there's lots and lots of...
I don't know how this is going to unravel.
Sure.
For the sins of my son, I don't know what's going to happen tomorrow.
Right.
And my wife is just a mess.
Just take it one day at a time. That's all you can do anyway. And I know there's lots and lots of unknowns and lots of stuff we don't know. It's going to take us days and weeks to sort things out. So try not to panic in the meantime and think too far ahead. Let's just think about...
No, you guys are in charge right now. Terry and I have decided we can't do anything until we're out of this. Until you guys say, okay, you are released. Right now we can't do anything.
Well,
we can't go anywhere. I'm not working anymore. She can't have any more kids anymore. Everything's over. It's all done now. It's over. Our lives are totally over.
In another room at the Mesa County Sheriff's Office, Brian Cohee Jr., now under arrest and charged on suspicion of first-degree murder, has waived his Miranda rights and is ready to talk with investigators. They waste no time getting straight to the point.
So what's important to me is to learn as much about you and what you did as I can. Well, as many details as you can give me, the better.
I drive a 2007 Ford 500.
Okay.
And I keep a small 18-inch bat in there for self-defense.
Okay.
And a large kitchen knife in the glove box, both for self-defense. because I don't really trust anyone or really any part of this town, so that's why I have both. And let's see, yeah, it was the night of February 27th. It was a full moon, and I figured I can see so well, why not drive out? And I am in a bad state of mind at that time. I have major depressive disorder, so I am not thinking, shall I say, positively.
Okay.
And I'm cruising around for an hour and a half. So I fill up on gas halfway through, and I'm eventually driving underneath the bridge near the sheriff's office. You know, like how... Can I?
Oh yeah, go ahead.
There's a road underneath, right? Out under the overpass. And I was driving along, and I see a shape here on the railway tracks. So I'm like, oh, interesting. So I go up, and as I'm looking, I see a large thing wrapped in a canvas.
Okay.
And I'm like, that's a homeless person. So I grab my knife, I put on 3 layers of gloves, because plastic gloves can betray their users because they're so thin, those vinyl gloves, by imprinting your fingerprints through. So I put on 3 on one hand. I took the knife, I pulled back the canvas, and I stabbed his neck.
Okay.
He was panicking at first in his old man voice. He was in his 50s. I know why I call him an old man. He was saying, "What are you doing? What are you doing? Why? Ah!" And I just kept on stabbing his neck. Is it okay if I do a demonstration?
Oh, yeah.
This is him. I was strapped on top of him like this.
Okay.
And he couldn't fight back. It was actually surprisingly easy. I was barely breaking a sweat. I thought, oh, this guy, he's going to be tough. But no, it was actually surprisingly easy. And during the time, I was growling and making animalistic noises.
Why were you doing that?
I suppose it was a frenzy.
Okay.
I was so excited, so rushed up on adrenaline every day. And I paused, and he said, "Why are you doing this?" And I said, "I've been wanting to do this for a long time, murder someone." And then I continued. The whole ordeal lasted about a minute and a half.
Okay.
And I stabbed. When I was finished stabbing him, he took out his last breath, a grunt, and his head was halfway cut off in stabs. All the while, no, actually, after I killed him, I just couldn't stop saying, "Stinky, dirty, dirty, stinky, stinky." I wasn't smelling anything, but...
And why were you saying that?
I don't know.
Okay.
And,
but you remember doing it, so...
Yeah. I suppose it was just me speaking out my mind at that moment. It was a pouring out of the mind.
What are you worried about? I mean, this looks like it's pretty close to the road and stuff. Somebody seeing you or catching you?
It was 11 p.m., so not many were driving by. Well, it was behind the pillar. So, like, here's the road. It was here. So people would only see a brief thing here and here.
So were you worried about them seeing you?
I was worried about one of them stopping.
What did you think could happen if somebody...
Well, if they looked, well, it was quite dark under there, so they wouldn't have seen the guy unless they looked. They would have seen me holding a bloody 12-inch knife, wearing gloves, and wearing a mask to conceal my identity, a face mask.
Okay. So you weren't doing it for COVID, you were doing it to hide your face?
Partially. Social distancing. Right. Yeah, but no one stopped. And I'm just like, proves the bystander effect.
Nonchalantly, the killer goes into chilling and graphic detail about what he did to Warren Barnes' body. We'll spare you the gruesome details. He then tells the investigators what he did with the various body parts once he was home with them.
And then I left his body there. And then I took the head, put it in a leftover pizza box from the dinner a few nights ago. And then I took the hands, put them in the back, drove home, hid the hands and head in my room, cleaned the knife, threw away the garbage with the blood on it, and then put the wasn't stained, it had splatters on it. I put it in the the washing machine.
What did you put in there?
I put the outfit I murdered him in a washing machine. Yeah, I was wearing.
Okay.
In a washing machine, put it on high speed so it would effectively remove the blood. Wash it twice. And then I tried going to sleep, but I was worried that because there was a hole in my gloves right here, I was worried that they would be able to obtain a partial print.
Mm-hmm.
So I figured, why not go all the way? I drove back in a different outfit, picked up his body, surprisingly heavy, put it in my trunk, and drove to the Blue Heron drop-off station.
Okay.
I parked, so it's like this, right? So let's say this is the ground. The ramp is quite steep, and you need to have four-wheel drive to pull out of it.
Okay.
And my car didn't. I thought that I could drive out. So because I put it in reverse, A, so that it's easier to pull the body out, and B, because the back tires would provide propulsion to push up.
Right.
And I open the trunk, I take his body out, I put it in the water, and because I don't want fingerprints on a body, so I just try moving it with my shoes. That works successfully. He goes out some part in the river and floats off.
Okay.
God knows where he is now.
Investigators are still curious to get to the bottom of Brian Cohee's state of mind at the time he committed the murder.
And you talked about you were just kind of in a bad space that night.
It was, yes.
Okay. Why were you in a bad space?
I didn't take my medicine, and plus for years I was wondering what murder would feel like, because like Ted Bundy and the Zodiac, they all say murder is the best feeling in the world. So I'm like, I'm going to try that.
Okay.
So for some time I had been wondering when it would happen. I always knew I would be in this building, whether it was as a criminal or a police officer.
Okay.
Because I was planning to go in the military, go into forensics.
Okay. All right.
And
how long do you really, honestly think you've been thinking about really at some point you wanted to know what murder felt like?
A year.
Wondering what gets you excited about doing it?
Well, I'm not really sexually attracted to it.
Okay. I was just asking.
It was just curiosity, more or less.
And you said you studied criminology and forensics and all that?
Not college study or school study. It's like a passing interest.
I understand. But what were you worried about, like leaving evidence behind or being caught?
Totally.
Tell me about that and what you did then.
Well, I was figuring the police don't. This is not to be taken offense, but police, they don't seem to care as much about high-risk individuals, homeless people, prostitutes, etc. So I was deliberately looking for someone who lived that type of life.
Okay.
And I found a homeless person, and the original goal was just leave him there. But I was worried about the fibers on the outfit I was wearing that would be on his clothes and stuff. So I deliberately messed up the clothes.
Okay.
Not cutting them up, just throwing them around. And I was worried about just how long it would take to find him, because it's a somewhat traveled road. Eventually someone with the windows down is going to smell something off. Right. Police have a nose for that type of thing. They're trained to be able to identify the smell of a corpse. So that's where the river idea came from, because a river will wash away a lot of evidence. Rivers are quite tricky. And obviously that was botched.
So how long have you been planning or looking for someone to do this with before you found this guy?
About a year.
A year?
No, 6 months.
So have you come close or seen somebody or chickened out or anything in the past?
No. I mean, I was looking for a deliberately secluded place like that one. I wouldn't just go up in Clifton and find someone walking down the street and stab them. No, that's too public. Everyone sees that.
Well, have you looked like at the homeless places or anything in the past?
I have, yes. I would go on night drives often, maybe once every 2 weeks. And I would just peruse the streets.
Okay. So before this guy, how close have you come in the past?
Not at all.
Not at all? You just drive around?
Yeah, look, just try and find someone.
Anybody interesting?
No.
In your mind thought of a plan?
Well, occasionally when you see girls walking down the street, I take a glance at them because it really is like Ed Kemper where half of me says, well, I'm quite inept with women. I'm being honest, I'm no Casanova. But half of me says, I want to take that girl home and make her feel nice. And the other half of me, it's just like what Ed said, is I want to see what her head looks like on a stick. And so occasionally when I'm driving down the road, if I see someone that catches my eye, I'll just like...
Were you worried about getting caught while you were doing it or before you did it?
I was worried about afterwards. For this past day and a half, including this day, I felt so anxious. Because not only is my car in the river, there's blood on it, there's body parts in my house. My parents like to look through my things occasionally. And when they see blood, and eventually when they're going to get the news that a body was found in the river, that's very much circumstantial evidence that's pointing to me. So I was very much anxious these past days that I was eventually going to get caught.
Okay. What did you think would happen if you got caught?
Well, I figured my mother would have confronted me about it, but no, she didn't even say it until the police arrived. I thought the police would handcuff me, but apparently I've been cooperational, so...
Detective's line of questioning moves on to the big question. Why now?
So what in your life has changed or what in your mind has changed to make
I don't know.
Was it like something all of a sudden one day you woke up and thought I'll kill someone, or was it a gradual?
It was gradual, I think. Call me weird, but I think everyone has had thoughts of shooting up their school. I didn't know. And then because of that, I suppose I just don't really like people at all. I don't know.
So thoughts of shooting up the school to today, what has happened?
Well, last year my parents found a kit I had been assembling. It had hammers, shovels, knives, large zip ties, duct tape, saw. That was meant for hurting people. They found it though, and they were ready to call the police until I had convinced them it was via other methods, for other things. Like, and it was an ultimatum where if I didn't throw it away, all that, they would call the police, or then I would have been arrested on charges of conspiracy.
And what if he hadn't been caught? Would Brian Cohee have killed again?
If you had not been caught by your folks, what do you think you would have done next?
With the kid?
I don't know. No. Let's talk about like today. If you would have been able to get rid of the head, and your folks did not find it.
Well, it depends.
Okay.
Would you guys have been able to solve it if the body was found in the river, the head and hands were missing, and there were no fingerprints or DNA?
Well, we'd like to think so, but who knows?
Right, who knows? We'd love to think so, but
so let's say we didn't solve it. What happens next?
Then what would you have thought of to do next?
Well, I thought I would have been very careful, because I would have been worried at any moment this could become a cold case, and then it could be solved later on down the line. So I probably would have done it again. because that was just to see what it felt like. And if I had gotten away with it, I would have just kept the secret to good grief.
Brian Cohee's trial, where he pleaded not guilty by reason of insanity, lasted for 12 days. Throughout the proceedings, Cohee's attorney argued that his mental illnesses prevented him from knowing right from wrong. But the jury didn't buy it. They deliberated for 2 days before finding him guilty of first-degree murder. Judge Richard Gurley said that in his 37 years in the court system and 16 years as a judge, this was one of the most horrific cases he's ever seen. Cohee was sentenced to life in prison plus 13 and a half years with no chance of parole, a far cry from the 15 years he believed he would receive when he was first interrogated. He is currently serving out his sentence at the Buena Vista Correctional Complex in Chaffee County, Colorado, where he will stay for the remainder of his natural life. Brian Cohee thought that he could get away with murder by taking the life of someone he believed wouldn't be worthy of an investigation. He couldn't have been more wrong. Warren Barnes was not only a beloved man in the downtown Grand Junction community, but most importantly, he was a human being who deserved to be treated with the dignity and respect that he offered others. According to the Colorado Sun, Barnes was a lifelong resident of the Grand Valley and told people that he spent time as a cowboy in the Book Cliff Mountains north of Grand Junction. He had a wife, a daughter, and a granddaughter. A sculpture by ironworker Tim Navin of a tree, chair, and stack of books, commissioned by one of the many people whose path intertwined with Barnes, sits in the breezeway outside of Monique's bridal shop where he used to pass the time. His mantra, "And you also," is inscribed on one of the books. The memory of the reading man lives on in downtown Grand Junction, despite a monster's attempt otherwise.